off on this one, and you guys can meet me for our YouTube live. So hit us up, all right? Nice, he says. Good. Thanks for hopping on. We'll see you guys here shortly in our YouTube live that's kicking off right now. Cool? All right. All right, so for all of you who are tuning in through TikTok and YouTube and Facebook, welcome. I am just shutting down here on my TikTok, but all right. So welcome to our weekly Q&A here on our YouTube channel. Thanks you guys for joining me. Just had to hop on TikTok real quick and get some questions, as well as give them a heads up that we are going live on our YouTube. Do this every Tuesday at noon Central. For those of you, hello, Miss Amy. Good to see you. It was short-lived yesterday, so I'm glad that we got to see you today. Excellent. We had lots of birthdays and anniversaries that we are celebrating. As a reminder, Mr. Decker's birthday is coming up on the 11th. So we've got a big birthday coming up there. And wishing him the very best to Don. Happy birthday, Don. All right. We also have some birthdays coming on today. Today's the 7th. We had Brandon Feely, Edwin Toy, and of course, yesterday was Leo Hoover and David Wathen. Tomorrow, Matthew Warthen and Jason Durand, Gary Moneypenny, all tomorrow, Wednesday. And then Dan Allstott. Dan has been with Decker for quite some time. He's our graphics manager. Does all the best fleets to drive for, as well as the, of course, Driven to be the Best and all of our decals. Jenna Lopes, she's celebrating her birthday on the 9th, as well as Edward Gibson. And then Xavier Edgerton on the 10th, Hannah Turry. And then Mr. Decker and Victor Sia is celebrating on the 11th, and Paul Barno on the 12th. So happy birthday. RN says, it was my birthday yesterday. Happy belated. Awesome. Amy says, is it his 21st? No. But I'm not going to say the number. One, because I'm not 100% positive, and you never want to say the wrong one, right? Scott, you made it over. So you were on there just temporarily for the TikTok, and now you're back over. Cool beans. I'm glad you made it. Awesome. So I'm going to hop in and just start talking real quick. We're going to be discussing teams. I'm also going to be discussing a little bit about the lease purchase program, because those have been the main topics for questions that we've had recently. So we'll be talking a little bit about that. Scott, are you home? Are you back home in Texas right now? How's the weather? Maybe not. Henry Voss, made it over from the YouTube first time live. Awesome. Good. I'm glad you made it. Exciting. So like I said, we do this every Tuesday at noon Central. We've got a couple of lives going on this week, because not only do we have our Monday live, which is on Facebook, of course, it's at 4 p.m. Central. Tuesday, we go live here on our YouTube channel, but we have the truck championships this weekend, and it'll be super exciting. We've got those truck championships both in Des Moines and in Helena. So Des Moines, Iowa, Helena, Montana, and Katie and I will be spread out to give you play-by-play, or at least our Decker representation play-by-play. So that'll be fun. Scott says, getting loaded in Colorado, headed to Washington. All right, so you're not home. Aaron says, can you talk about fuel discounts to the ICs? Yes, absolutely. And Amy says, weather is amazing here in Fort Dodge. Finally warming up a few days of nasty storms and rain. All right. Yes, we've had a lot of rain. We're still getting, not at this very moment, but we got it last night again. We're not going to complain about the rain because we really, really need it. So I'm very thankful for that. Okay. So let's talk about that lease purchase, or let's talk about the fuel discounts that you see. We have a new fuel program, and the fuel solutions are sent out, and there's a lot of different variables that go into the fuel discounts. When you pull up to the pump, that number that you see there really doesn't matter to us, because we get discounts behind the scenes that could be significant enough that the place or that the location across the street could be 10 cents difference at the pump, but it could be 10 cents or 15 cents difference behind the scenes at the location that you're at. So it could really, what's at the pump doesn't matter. It's not going to affect you. What matters is what we get behind the scenes. And so you'll be getting those discounts. You'll be getting ours. So use the fuel solutions. Not only does our fuel solution take into account what the cost of fuel is, which we all know is a lot at this point. The fuel surcharge, speaking of fuel costs, the fuel surcharge right now is at 73 cents for the national average. 73 cents. That blows my mind because I'm used to, like 18 cents, 23 cents, that kind of things. Hey, George, good to have you. So it blows my mind that it's at 73 cents right now, and in not a good way. So 73 cents a mile for the fuel surcharge. Those fuel discounts are going to take into account not only the cost of the fuel at those particular stations, but what your tolls and scales are on that particular route that you're on. It's going to look at variables, different routes, and make sure that it's the right one. So it's going to look at tolls, scales. It'll look at the weather as well as the fuel costs, the fuel discounts. So there's a lot of factors in that it takes into account that you don't have to use manpower or brain power for. We don't have to use it. Thankfully, that's all electronic. But if you're looking at that route and you're thinking, you know what, something seems quirky about this, do not hesitate to reach out to your driver manager or to reach out to maybe even Janelle over in our fuel solutions. So if you have any questions about it, reach out. That said, I'm not saying that we're going to necessarily be able to change it because it may be that way and may be solid that way for those reasons that I gave you. Your tolls, your scales, your fuel discounts, etc. I don't want to overlook that, but mistakes can be made and we don't want to overlook that. Cool? Overlooking twice. So, okay, great question. Thank you very much. With the fuel for our owner-operators or independent contractors, lease purchase as well, you're going to get, let's start on the refrigerated side, okay? So, yes, I highly suggest you follow the routing. It will save you a ton. No batting around that one. It's going to save you a ton. Hundreds of dollars a week. Before we even had the fuel costs that we have now, talking to one of our drivers, he was running team actually with his dad, and it saved him over $500 for that week alone, just because he didn't want to stop at a location. He wanted to bypass that one, but the price itself was so significant, and that it was less than half of what it is now. I mean, it made that much of a difference. And he was running team, so I get that. So I'm thinking, per truck, it'd probably be equivalent if you were a solo driver now. But it makes a huge difference to you. Follow the fuel routing. It also helps towards your bonuses, with following those. But for the fuel surcharge, so on the refrigerated side, excuse me, as my voice cracks. How old are you? Just kidding. Okay. So on the refrigerated side, we have, depending on our contracts or our customer that we have the contract with, and we pretty much are all contracted freight, and which is great because you've got that consistency, you've got that buildup of that customer base. But for the fuel surcharge, you're getting 72% of the load, and your fuel surcharge is 90% on any reefer load. It's 100% on any dry van load because we take care of the reefer fuel, and 10 cents of that fuel surcharge will go to the reefer fuel. The rest of it, the 90%, will go towards the truck, towards the independent contractor to benefit from. And that's on a refrigerated side. Okay. Now, there are some customers that pay not the fuel surcharge, not the national average, but they have a set amount for that fuel surcharge. So then you'll get whatever that is. Not a percentage, you'll get whatever it is. if that makes sense. So like it's already figured into the contract at that certain rate, which will most definitely take care of you. Speaking of our fuel surcharge, it's calculated on about 6 to 6.5 miles per hour, or miles per gallon, miles per hour, about 6 miles per gallon, okay? Our trucks, for the most part, now we have a couple of owner-operators that do not get as good of fuel mileage, but for the most part, our trucks are getting 8+ miles per gallon, which is pretty darn good considering the size. I mean, I consider my personal vehicle, when it's getting 6 miles per gallon, yes, 6, hauling a little 14-foot trailer with whatever in it. That's impressive to be getting 8, hauling heck of a lot more weight, right? All right, side note. Anyways, the fuel surcharge, you'll be making money on it because that's figured at about 6 miles per gallon, where if you're making about 8 miles per gallon, you're going to see a good increase for yourself, a good money back for yourself on that fuel surcharge. Now that's for the refrigerated side. Flatbed, it's 72% of the load plus 100% of the fuel surcharge. So you'll get all of that fuel surcharge. Okay. You want to look at the big picture too. And you guys, if you're new to trucking, then definitely heed my warning. If you're considering lease purchase and you've been trucking for a while, just please remember, and I can't stress this enough, but please remember that as an owner-operator or as a lease purchase individual, you are running a business and fuel can make it or break it for you. Part of our additional bonus structure, we have fuel compliance and idle time. And those are calculated within your monthly bonus as a company driver. They're not calculated in your monthly bonus as an owner-operator and lease purchase. The reason being is if you don't follow those, you are going to get dinged, or you'll financially feel it. Not dinged by us, but like you'll financially feel it. If you're idling a lot, you're going to be paying out more in fuel. If your fuel compliance isn't great or it isn't consistently 100%, 90 to 100%, you're going to see significant expenses or increased expenses in your fuel costs. And that's coming out of your bottom line, not Decker's bottom line as a company driver. Does that make sense? You're running a business. That's why we highly suggest that you invest into the ATBS system or something similar to it when you're leasing onto us, for lease purchase, or whether you're an owner operator as well. Unless you already have a tax accountant, a tax provider for you that knows the trucking industry. But ATBS is a great investment because you are running a business. They're keeping track of a lot of those expenses and stuff for you. Looks like I'm having some warnings on my speed and on the video. So if it's not streaming properly, I apologize for that. So yes, please keep that in mind. You're running a business. We are here to make sure that you're succeeding at that business. Now our goals are $4,500 to $5,500 for your weekly gross revenue. That's our goal for our lease purchase. All right, for anybody that's lease purchasing onto us. ATBS. It's a tax service it includes quite a bit of stuff, but taxes is one of them for owner operators and lease purchase. They're based out of Colorado. ATBS. So for our owner operators, lease purchase, $4,500 to $5,500 a week in gross revenue is what our goal is. Now, that being said, with what has recently been coming across for rates, our drivers, our lease purchase drivers have seen an increase in that gross revenue significantly in some loads. Some loads are right about there. Some weeks are right about there. But other weeks, you might see a significant difference. You might see 700 or 7,000. You might see 8,000. But 45 to 55 is where we want to make sure that you're getting at least to make sure that you're bringing home a great income as well as able to cover all of your costs. You betcha. You bet. So that's, just keep that in mind. So some of you guys who have been, and I don't want to like be the Grim Reaper or anything. I just want to make sure that reality is there for all of us, or the possibilities of this at least are there for all of us to understand. Some of you guys have been doing a phenomenal job and making a wonderful living with the lease purchase and the owner operator. And you may very well continue to do that, and I hope you do. But with the rates adjusting, please make sure that you are storing some of those extra funds away, because I do believe that it's going to have a shift in what our fuel or what our rates are going to be. Not just Decker, I mean nationwide. I mean across the board for everybody. The rates are going to be changing, or they've got to be, right? They've got to be. So with that being said, just have a heads up that you, or peace of mind that you've stored, you squirreled away some extra funds in case it kind of begins to fluctuate again. Okay? All right. Well, with that said, with the assumption that everything is continuing to go well and that you guys are going to see some great payouts, it's 72% of the load plus 100% of the fuel surcharge for the lease purchase program. And again, you're seeing about, it depends on how many miles that you're running, what you're seeing in fuel surcharge pay. However, your expenses and everything are pretty much going to be, right around $2,500 or so. Again, depends on what your fuel mileage is for the week. So that's about what your expenses are. So that's why it's very important that we keep you on that higher end for your gross revenue, so that you can bring home $2,000 to $2,500 or more a week in income. So cool. So that's on the lease purchase side. And owner operator side. Owner operator is also 72% of the load, and plus the fuel surcharge. So great questions. Thank you for answering or asking that. I do want to address the question, just in case whoever it was that had asked on our TikTok right before hopping onto the live, out of Oklahoma City. So to answer your question, yes, we have both over the road, refrigerated and flatbed in the Oklahoma City area. Flatbed's usually about every other weekend. It's pretty common for flatbed to be on the weekend for home time. So you're looking at coming in on like a Friday night or a Saturday morning and leaving back out Sunday night or Monday morning for the norm for flatbed. And that's going to go the same whether you're on a home weekly option or if you're out 2 weeks at a time. But we do figure for every 7 days you're out is a day and a half home time. So you've got some wiggle room on that when you're staying out a little bit longer. Right now, sorry, I'm going to bump right over to the question here. How many loads for 5,400? Right now, a lot, because that's where the rates are. They're over, a lot of them are over that. So it's pretty common to see those right now. Like I said, some of them are 7 a week, but I don't know how long that will be. And I just want to make sure 45 to 55 is strong, that's a good one. And we want to make in like the normal setting. This is not normal to me. It floors me, but I'm sure in the past, I'm sure in the past there's been plenty of the fluctuations. I've been in the industry for just shy of 20 years. And so what I'm seeing is, significant highs right now for these rates. So that being said, the 5,400 or so, there's a fair amount right now at that. But before we even went into this arena of the high rates, we were shooting between 45 and 55 to keep you. Oh, sorry. It really depends. That is a great question. It depends on what running lanes you're looking. Okay, so his question was, thankfully clearing it up, thank you. The question actually is, how many loads a week would it take to get to that 5,400 mark, 5,500 or whatever it is? And that totally depends on where you're running and what you're hauling. So let me give a couple of examples. If you're in the Iowa, Illinois area and you're hauling some of our pork or chicken, some of our meat loads, then it may only take a couple of loads a week. It'd be a lot of short loads, waiting, and we do paid detention and layover mechanical breakdown and all that kind of stuff. Whether you're company or lease purchase. Lease purchase, you're going to get 72% of all the accessory pay. So yeah, it would be, I would say it'd be about 3-4 loads a week if you're staying within the Midwest and getting home on a weekly basis, because we do have some of those options. But if you're running more of our over-the-road divisions and you're running a lot of Northwest and Midwest and sometimes down into the Southeast and over to the Northwest, so you're running those longer length of hauls, it could be 1 or 2 loads. So it really just depends on where all you're running and what you're hauling. If you're hauling some of our bread loads, there's just, we have loads that do pay less, but that could be a better mileage one for you than it would be so more on that fuel surcharge than one for the percentage. That being said, as well, we're looking at the overall revenue. Don't look necessarily at your miles, because they don't have the power that they used to have. Before you were paid percentage pay, or even with this type of mindset, you're going to, if you don't focus on the miles and you focus on the revenue, which is what your fleet manager is doing for you, they're focusing on the revenue for you, making sure that you meet those marks. It may take a couple of loads, 3 or 4 loads versus the 1 or 2 for someone who's going coast to coast. That was a really long answer. Of no surprise, I know you guys know me well enough, but it's a great question, but it really does depend. If you live in the Iowa, Illinois area, they're going to pay more per load in those areas if those are meat loads. Some of those produce loads and stuff like that are running longer, you're going to make great money on, but you're probably going to run a greater distance. And keep in mind that you might have a not as exciting load, in between. So you might run this really long load that's paying super well, and then you might have this short load that's getting you in position for another great paying load, whether it's long or short. I couldn't tell you, but you might have a load in between there that doesn't pay well, but it's better than deadheading in order to get you placed to a better opportunity. Cool? Keep that in mind. And if you have questions at all, talk to your fleet managers. If you're wondering, I don't like to run this certain area, speak to your fleet manager. If you haven't started with Decker yet, communicate with your recruiter, because they can let you know, yes, we can deal with that, or no, we're not going to be a good fit for you because we can't do that. Just communicate so that we're sitting on the same, we're on the same road to your success. Okay, it's great. RN says, thanks for your ethics, because spot rates are down and contract rates will go down. It has to be inevitable, right? It's just important to know. We want people to succeed at this. It took a long time to get the lease purchase into effect, and we've taken it off the board many times throughout the years when it's not a good opportunity for somebody. But when it is a good opportunity, we want to make sure that you see the success over and over. So, great question. Chris asks, do you recruit drivers from the Caribbean? We do require that you have a United States driver's license for a minimum of 3 years before you can drive for Decker. Now, I'm not saying a Class A CDL for a minimum of 3 years, but a U.S. driver's license. And then we require that you are a recent graduate or have more experience, but a minimum of a recent graduate of a PTDI certified school, which is basically saying that you have at least 160 hours of schooling and that you graduated from that. Cool. All right. I want low miles, high revenue. I know, but I totally agree with you, Aaron. But the thing is, there's so many people, and myself included, that we have known the pay per mile and that mileage is key. You know, mileage is king for drivers for so long. It's hard to switch that mentality. So I'm here preaching on my soapbox saying, you know what? Let's talk about your revenue. That's what matters. You know, you might not be getting the mileage. You know, you might have low miles. Great example. Lisa, she just was reaching out to you. Lisa's a great example. She was on the fresh meat fleet for a short time. Did you get miles, Lisa? It's not great for miles. It's a good job. It's a great job. You're working your tail off. A lot of night driving in that one. You know, you're sitting, you're waiting, and then you go. Then you sit, and then you wait. And that's hard. That's low miles, though. And then for some of our bonus programs, it had to have its own little bonus because the miles are so low in that in comparison to our others that you just would never, we don't want you to not succeed. We want you to succeed. And so we needed to make a way that it wasn't available for your success. But you're right. High revenue is more important for you than miles. And when you're getting a percentage, it just makes sense. But when we've been told for so many years that, oh, I need more miles, no, revenue. I'd want Midwest Regional. Yeah, if you're in the Midwest Regional, you're in Kansas City, prime area. Fantastic spot. Actually, in the Kansas City area, we have a guarantee of $12.50 per week as a company driver. And your rate of pay is obviously going to be based off of your experience. And then the, I'm seeing garbage truck come by. Let's see, Kansas City, we've got, that's just for the company side, but Kansas City for our lease purchase, great spot because you can run and possibly even be home on a weekly basis. But keep in mind that if you're cutting a load short that you're not able to deliver, then that could throw off your pay as well. So if you've got some flexibility on your home time, you know, you want to stay out a week to 2 weeks at a time, you know, you've got that flexibility, then you can really rock some of those solid loads, those well-paying high revenue loads. So great example. Not so much, she says, on Dry Van this week. Lisa is playing musical chairs lately. I gotta call her out on that one. She's on Dry Van this week and mics are rough. Yeah, so she was doing our fresh meat fleet, working her way back into a home daily position. Not back. I mean, have you done home daily before, Lisa? I mean, like, consistently? So since Decker is what I mean, not before Decker. So we had Dry Van for Lisa for many years, and you may see one of her interviews on our YouTube channel as well. But she did Dry Van, and then she did the fresh meat fleet briefly. It's not an easy one. It's a lot of night driving, like I said. And then moving back, because she's in the Fort Dodge area, so moving back to more a home daily in our hopper position. So, but now you're throwing in Dry Van? Miles, not Mike's. Okay, that makes more sense. I wonder who Mike is. Okay, so Dry Van this week and the miles are rough. Okay, there you go. Lisa says next week begins home daily. Good! I know you're looking forward to that. RN says, yeah, unfortunately, I'm a solar powered driver. I have never heard of that, and that I just think that's creative. Yes, the one fresh meat fleet, the one that she was doing that we were talking about, that's really high paid revenue. That one is a lot of night driving, and really anything in the refrigerated is going to be more, or is going to have a fair amount of night driving. In my opinion, that's what I believe. That's what I see a lot of. So, if you're interested in flatbed, we have a lot of flatbed as well. Do we have in Kansas City? What do I have? Give me a second. I'm cheating. Pecking away on my computer here. Okay. All right, cool. So we do have the weekly. We have the weekly option for flatbed as well into the Kansas City area, which wouldn't be, I mean, you might have some night driving here and there, but it wouldn't be as much night driving at all. not, I mean, refrigerated, you just see more of it. And weekends are usually off for the flatbed. Like coming home on like a Friday night or a Saturday morning, leaving back out Sunday night or early Monday morning for a Monday morning delivery. Good call. Scott says, with 28 years experience and running 3 weeks out, how do I get my minimum pay from 1,000 to 1,250? Seen low miles yet? That's a good. Where's your preferred running lane, Scott? And I'm just gonna make a note for myself too, so I can reach out. Yeah. I'm fat and clumsy, so you're saying flatbed's not for you? You just have to slow down a little bit. Well, refrigerated and flatbed are currently what I have out of your area. But like I said, if you're a solar power driver, which I'm going to use all the time now, then yes, I would suggest flatbed. Fat and clumsy, well, the flatbed can get you into shape. I love it. Scott says most anywhere but northeast. Okay. Can I look into that for you, Scott? Can I kind of do a little research for you to see what's going on and why? Because we want to be able to see, at 70 cents a mile, we want to be able to see a lot better on those for you. Okay? So let's see what I can do here for you. Anywhere but northeast. Understandable. Cool. I'll give you a holler then, okay? It's climbing on the loads that worries you? Yeah, that makes sense. When we were doing, what was I doing? I had Tanner, this was several years ago, by the way, but I had Tanner doing his play-by-play, his training of the securement training and stuff. And I've got the camera like up in my face. I'm trying to maneuver lights and climbing over everything. And I could feel the tension, and I'm pretty, well, I want to say I'm pretty agile, but that's when I'll fall on my face. So, literally. So yeah, I'm climbing over things, and I thought, you know what? On a day-to-day basis, this would be something that you need to have your focus on. You can't be thinking about who knows what, in the different country. So, all right. So let me look at that for you, because 28 years, I think it should be different. So let me reach out. Okay. Yeah. We will have a conversation shortly after this one. All right. Teams, let's answer some of your questions. You guys keep your questions coming, by all means. Otherwise, I'm just going to go roll in on my own here and talk about teams, because that was a main topic of yesterday's Facebook Live, because those are a lot of the questions that I'm getting here recently. And we have some awesome opportunities for our teams. If you are looking to lease as a team, it's a $1,500 down payment plus, so that down payment or that deposit or whatever the heck you want to call that, that goes towards your security escrow. Okay. And then your truck payment is double that of a solo driver. So instead of the $725, it'd be $1,450 a week for that. And then the maintenance service fee, that's going to continue to be 10 cents per mile on all loaded miles. That maintenance service fee, so our trucks are newer, you know that. Our trucks are newer. However, there are some things that the warranties aren't going to cover, like oil, fuel too, they don't cover fuel, batteries, tires, things like that. And that's where that maintenance service charge, that's growing there for you so that you have that reserve basically. All right. I don't know. Lisa, I'm going to Helena for the truck championships this week. I'm not sure when I'm coming to Fort Dodge next. I think my next trip is actually to Bessemer. I hope. So, because I haven't been to that terminal yet. So, and I'm hoping for a barbecue at your house, Lisa. When, not in Bessemer, obviously. But in Fort Dodge. Let's see, what else? Teams. So that's for the team lease purchase. It's still 72% of the load. Obviously, you get more loads. And the fuel surcharge on top of that. Now, as a company team position, it's a base of 60 cents a mile. Okay, now these numbers that I'm giving you, just know that these go to the truck and then they split for the driver. Cool? So you have 60 cents to the truck, 30 cents a piece to the drivers as a team. Now that's just the base, okay? 10 cents of that 60 is per diem. So 5 cents a piece is per diem. All right, and that's going to stay throughout, where the rest of the taxable amount will actually increase. Cool? Ooh, that's when it is, Lisa. I didn't know when it was. It's in October. Ooh, October wedding. Better not be cold. Is it an indoor outdoor wedding? October in Iowa. It has to be indoor. Cool. All right, writing that down. Okay, so 60 cents a mile, 30 cents a piece, 5 cents a piece is per diem, and then the rest is going to build on top of the taxable amount. So as a team, if you run, now these stair steps, I'm giving you them to let you know what they are, but the majority, unless you're running super solo miles, most every team that we have is running between right around that I think it's 55 to 6,500 a week in miles. I gotta confirm that I'm not pulling your leg here. I'm pretty sure it's over 6,000, 6,500. Okay, cool. I had to know what I was talking about. Don't you hate that? So yeah, they're running about 6,500 miles a week. All right. That being said, there are stair steps. So if you run between 12 and 14,000 miles a month, so that's just a month, then you're getting an extra 2 cents a mile. So that 2 cents a mile, one a piece. Okay, and that's the taxable income. So that adds on to the 25 cents a piece that's taxable. It's now 26 with the 5 cent per diem. Okay, but week by week, it's going to be 60 cents a mile to the truck. Okay, because you get paid every Friday direct deposit. And then this additional bonus that I'm telling you, this mileage bonus, this is going to be paid on the third week of the month following. So whatever you ran in May is going to be paid the third pay period of June, or right about that. 10, 22, 22. Ooh, that's a fun number. And it's indoor. Okay, I like indoor. All right, so that's that part, okay? 12 to 14,000 miles a month would get you an extra penny a piece. 14 to 16,000 miles a month is 4 cents a mile, 4 cents a mile, so 2 cents a piece. 16 to 18 is 6 cents a mile, 3 cents a piece, and everything over 18,000 miles a month, which is our norm, is going to be an extra 4 cents a piece. So 8 cents total, 4 cents a piece bonus. Okay, so that's just the mileage bonus. That is one bonus that I'm talking about. There's a handful of more over here, that we're going to talk about. Okay, where was I going with that? The mileage. One more time. The average miles for our teams are 6,500 a week. So that 18,000 minimum to get the additional 8 cents a mile total, or 4 cents a piece, that is the most, every team gets that, unless you flat out are only running super solo miles and that was your goal, is to have one main driver and the other one like a backup driver. Okay? Cool. All right, make sure we're on the same page. So there's that bonus. That is our mileage bonus, paid the third week of the month following when you ran it. These are all going to pay out about the same time, because you have your scorecard bonus, which is up to 4 cents total on all the miles that you completed for the previous month. The scorecard bonus is going to be based off of your fuel compliance, your idle time, as long as you're a company driver. So your fuel compliance, your idle time, on-time delivery, driver service claims, preventable accidents, CSA violations, and what am I missing? I'm missing something. Anyways, those are the requirements, or the different factors. Miles, that's what it is. And miles, those are the different factors towards your 4 cents a mile bonus. Now, you might not get the full 4 cents a mile. Maybe you had a preventable, or maybe you had your fuel compliance was at 100%. So maybe you lost a penny. So now you're at 3 cents a mile on all the miles you got. That's cool. You're still getting a bonus. You're still getting that 3 cents a mile. Now that's the scorecard bonus. Now there's 2 bonuses over here that we talked about. Then you also have the safety bonus. It used to be called the Smart Drive bonus, but because we are switching from Smart Drive to Lytics, I'm going to call it safety. So it's a penny per mile, and it's based off of your score, whether it be your Smart Drive or your Lytics score. If your score is 20 points or below, you'll get an extra penny per mile on all those miles that you completed. George says you'll have all the YouTube crowd showing up for your wedding. I think that's the plan. Big old party. So that's another penny per mile. So really, you could have 5 cents more per mile in the monthly bonuses, the scorecard and safety bonus, plus an extra per driver, an extra 4 cents a mile in mileage bonus. So that's 9 cents altogether per driver. Right? Right. Okay. What else do we have? Well, actually, it would be 2.5 cents because you're splitting those miles is really what that works. So it would be about 6.5 cents total. There. That's accurate. That's more accurate. Okay, so now there's those bonus. We talked about the safety bonus. We talked about the scorecard bonus. We talked about the mileage bonus. That's 3. We also have, for those beginning with Decker who are not currently with us, we currently have our sign-on bonus, and it's still going. So this is probably the longest that we've had the sign-on bonus. It's a $5,000 sign-on bonus. It pays out quarterly, and again, it's split. So it's $1,250 each quarter. So that's $625 per driver every quarter for the first year. However, this is an accelerated sign-on bonus. So the more miles you run within the quarter, the additional pay that you'll get. So as long as you're running over 25,000 miles for the quarter, and like I said, 6,500 is the average weekly. So running over 2,500 for the quarter, you're going to get an additional 5 cents a mile on all the miles over that 25,000. That's for the sign-on bonus, and that lasts for the first year. So that's the second part of the sign-on bonus. So that's still one bonus. So there's 4 bonuses over there. Sign-on bonus, scorecard bonus, Smart Drive bonus, or safety bonus, and mileage bonus. Whew! See? I told you there's a lot to it. Now, there's still more. This position for a team, for our teams, you hear me saying all the time, this is no-touch freight, we're no-touch freight. Okay, I'm taking those words back when it comes to teams, because our teams are touch freight for our bread loads. Okay? Our teams are usually the ones on the bread loads, because the carts that you're rolling on and off the truck, or the trailer, the carts that you're rolling on and off, they're roughly 300 to 400 pounds a piece. So they're not light. And they are on wheels, so it is doable for one person to do it, but it's a lot easier if the 2 of you are doing it. So rolling the carts off the trailer and putting it in the storage unit, or the storage, wherever they have you, putting it in the warehouse, and then rolling the empties back on. That's the touch freight that you would be doing. Make sense? Okay. Repeat? You're full of malarkey. Okay. Rewind. Just kidding. Okay, so again, for the bread loads, you're rolling the cart off and you're rolling it back on. It's about 300 to 400 pounds. You're rolling the empties back on. So you've got traction. They are going to be, like, sometimes when you're at the warehouses, they'll say, yep, we'll just put them here. it may take 5 more minutes to put them over in another spot for them if that's really where they want them to be. Okay, I'm totally veering here, but here's the thing. Talking to some of our teams, if they go that extra mile, which is not actually a mile, but maybe it could be an extra 15 yards of moving on a flat surface, moving the carts where the warehouse wants them, it makes the relationship they have with those locations so much better. And when they're constantly seeing them, they have a great relationship and they're in and out really, really well. So build relationships, right? Okay. Total side note, I know. But that's what you're doing. That's the touch freight. Besides the bread loads, the other loads that our teams are doing, 90% of those are not, well, they're not. Okay, let me try again. All right. Besides the bread loads, not only are the other ones no touch freight, because yes, they're no touch freight, but they're 90% drop in hook, which is what our teams want and need in order to get good miles. So there you go. We've done a lot of revamping to the teams. Cool. By the way, the telephone number for talking to a recruiter, getting more information, getting an application over to you, all the good stuff, is 888-668-0698. I have not been repeating it throughout, but I have text Decker to 25,000, and I've got the telephone number running around here as well. So hopefully you've been seeing that throughout. Yes. Voss Henry says, what have you got for solo company reefer or dry van? I currently don't have any dry van available. We're booked on our dry van. But can you tell me, Voss, where do you live? Can you give me your zip code and I can tell you what I have available for your area? And that way I can be more specific. And also, can you also tell me how much experience you have? And then I can give you a complete answer instead of just a partial. But for the refrigerated, now this is going to be a general answer until I get your zip code, but for the company refrigerated options, I have Home Weekly available. I have over the road options where you're looking at coast to coast. You know, you can run the Northwest, you can run the Midwest, you can run into the Southeast, coast to coast. So we've got those options. It does depend on where you live, on what type of home times I have. If you live in Phoenix, Arizona, I have over the road flatbed, which is 2 to 3 weeks out. I don't have the option of Home Weekly. But if you live in the Kansas City area or Illinois, or parts of Illinois, I should say, then yeah, we've got some home time options for you. Speaking of home time, if you live in the Des Moines area, Des Moines, Iowa, which is the location for the Iowa Truck Championships coming on, I think it's officially starting on Saturday, but Friday is set up. But if you're there, if you're local, you have a hazmat, you have a tanker endorsement, and you're looking for a local position, we do have a local that would run you Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Maybe a Saturday here and there, maybe a little bit, maybe 40 to 45 hours a week is what you'd be looking at. And the pay is $23 an hour. $23 an hour. But we do require at least a hazmat and tanker endorsement for that position. Voss, where do you live with 4 to 5 years of experience? Where do you live? You'll be starting in the refrigerated division. You're at the 59 cents a mile. 10 cents of that's per diem as a solo driver. So 59 cents a mile, 10 cents per diem. You'll get a penny raise after 90 days and a penny raise every year on your anniversary until you cap out at 70. That being said, our guarantee is $1,000 a week. So you should be making, 13 to 1,500 a week is what you should be making. Yes. So I don't have weekly available, but I do have over the road out of there. So it'd be 2 to 3 weeks out at a time and home for 3 to 4 days. And you can stay west of the Mississippi, or you can stay within, like Denver east. So a lot of the Midwest, basically. We do towards the east. We don't do the Northeast a whole lot at all. But there are some opportunities. Like Atlanta is really good. Parts around Birmingham, Bessemer area is good. We have freight in Tennessee. So you'll see that there's definitely down in the Southeast, Mississippi and Louisiana will have some freight. But for the most part, the Midwest is heavy, as well as the Northwest. But if you don't like to run the Northwest, you have the opportunity to choose not to run out like west of Denver. Cool? Okay. Let's see. Oh, sign-on bonus for solo. Great question. It's also $5,000. $5,000, same requirements. You know what? I didn't talk about the requirements, so let me actually address those, okay? The requirements for your guaranteed pay, which is the $1,000 a week that I mentioned, are the same for the sign-on bonus. However, the $1,000 a week guaranteed pay is week by week by week. It has no bearing on any other week. So if you didn't get it your first week, that's not going to have any effect on any of the other weeks for you. Okay. But the requirements are be available for dispatch at least 5 days out of the week, no load refusals, no driver service failures, so no late loads, no preventable accidents, no CSA violations, and get your paperwork in. Should be easy. It is. We have scanners in the truck. You can use your phone, the TransFlow app, to take a picture and get it over to payroll that way, submit it through TransFlow. But the GeoTab unit that we have in the truck, you can scan or take a picture of the bills and get them to payroll using that tablet as well. But that's the weekly guaranteed pay requirements. Week by week, you have to be 100% compliant in order to qualify for that. Now, if your rate of pay per mile, so 59 cents a mile, and the number of miles you ran exceed the $1,000 bonus, or the $1,000 guarantee, not the $1,000 bonus, $1,000 guarantee, then you're going to get the better of the two. Okay? What you ran for miles, 10 cents of that is per diem. So you'll see per diem based off of the number of miles that you ran for the week. So if you were low on miles and we had to make up the difference from, I don't know, maybe you made $800 and to get you, so we need to add an extra $200 to get you to that 1,000. That 200 mark there, the difference between that $200, none of that's going to include per diem. It's just the miles that you ran that'll include per diem. Make sense? It's just, a lot of you won't even notice that. Some of you who keep track of that from week to week, you want to know that. So, full disclosure, that's what it is. And I know a lot of you like the per diem because it's non-taxed, and that way you can bring a little bit more home. So, there you go. Okay, so that's the weekly guaranteed pay. Make sense? Then the sign-on bonus, which is very similar. It's a $5,000 sign-on bonus, accelerated sign-on bonus. So you'll get more if you run over 25,000 miles for the quarter. But the requirements for the guaranteed pay on the weekly basis and for the sign-on bonus, they work together. So you need to be at least 70% compliant throughout the quarter in order to qualify for the sign-on bonus for that quarter. So you need to be 70% compliant on the week by week guarantee in order to qualify for the sign-on bonus. We have been running this sign-on bonus for a while, and don't ask me how long. I can't remember how many. It's been a while since we started that. Everybody has been making it. I haven't seen anybody not make it. So it is a requirement because we have to have some checks and balances, but you're going to make it. Okay. So those are the requirements. 70% compliant on the week-to-week guaranteed pay in order to qualify for the sign-on bonus, which is $1,250 each quarter. But if you run over 25,000 miles for that quarter, you're going to get an additional 5 cents a mile paid out on that same check. An additional 5 cents a mile on all the miles over 25,000. Lisa says, per diem makes a huge difference. Found that out well on the fresh meat fleet. Yeah, it does. It does. And remember, per diem is paid out based off of what miles you ran. So yes, in fact, that your miles will matter when it comes to per diem. Great message or comment. Okay, so Voss, does that explain the sign-on bonus? I know I went very detailed, but I personally like the details, so that's why I go with that. Sometimes I overshare information, and I can simplify it if you rather just a quick answer, which is it's $5,000 plus an additional 5 cents a mile over 25,000 for the quarter. That's my quick answer. You already got my long answer. Cool. All right. Well, it is coming up on 1 o'clock, which means, okay, cool. Awesome. I'm glad you got that. It's coming up on 1 o'clock, so we are almost done with today's live. But if you guys have any additional questions, I'm going to wait just another minute or two so that I can make sure that I answer those for you as they come in. If you aren't already following us on Facebook and TikTok, TikToks are like our newfound excitement. But if you aren't following us on that, please go follow us. We are going to have some live interaction with you and some great videos coming up this week on Friday and Saturday during the Truck Championships in both Montana and Iowa. So looking forward to that. George, you are very welcome. He says, thanks for the good info. Love it. 500 push-ups a week next week. Yes. Oh man. Actually, I hit my 10,000. So my new workout, see, George is keeping up on me, making sure I'm staying up on it. I had upped it so that I could get through the 10,000 because I was bored with the workouts. 500 push-ups in one day was hard, doing all different variations, by the way, was hard, but it was boring. And I like to work out, and if I don't enjoy the workout, then I'm probably not going to continue with it. So I hit my 10,000 goal. So I did 10,000 reps. It was the kettle swings, squats. Well, it's kettle swings, push-ups, squats, and then variations of back extensions and then abs. So yes, those are what I did. Hit my 10,000 faster than I thought because I just did extra days to get through it. Because like I said, I just couldn't wait. And then I get excited for the next workout. What's fun is my son, he has been doing the workouts with me this week. I know it's only Tuesday, but that's 2 more days than he has done in the past. So he's been doing short workouts with me. They're 20-minute workouts, followed by 20-minute cardio workouts, followed by a resistance training. Because you know how I feel about weights. Weights are fantastic for you. They bring longevity into your life. And Lisa, do you get preached this all the time? I know Andrea feels very similar to me when it comes to working out and like the mental game, the mental mindset that it gives you. Clarity, that's what it is. But anyways, resistance training. You got to hone in on that. You got to make sure you've got a couple of days of resistance training. And when you're in the truck, if you have bands, and of course I don't have them here with me right now, but if you have bands, those are fantastic for you. My preference are those WOD bands, like a workout a day bands. They're full circles, and me standing, I'm 5'7", 5'6" and 3/4. Okay, so I'm 5'7", and so if I put the band under my feet, it'll come to my shoulders. So that's how big those bands are. And then they have different resistance, with the width of them. Those are fantastic ones to have on the truck, because as you increase, you can double up those bands, whether you're doing squats, because you can put them on your shoulders, put them on the palm of your hand, do a proper squat, put that weight back on your heels, Put your butt back the other direction, and you can squat up. You can do an extension. So for a shoulder extension afterwards, you can do the deadlift or the cleans, the clean press. Those are fantastic. It's a little bit different than it would be with a weight, but you're not carrying that extra weight in the truck. It stores super easily, and it's great for those fine muscles that you have, those little muscles, the supporting muscles that so often are overlooked when you're weight training with dumbbells or with bars. So keep that in mind. That's why Pilates and yoga and some of those balance workouts are fantastic for you. So if you do like the asymmetrical workouts, if you do one side at a time and then you go to do the other, you're really making sure that you've got your balance and equal training for you, buddy. Yeah, see, you side noted me. That's your fault, George. I love to talk about that stuff. So Lisa says, we like when she doesn't miss CrossFit. Yeah, I get to be a cranky person if cranky, moody, if you're not working out. I love to work out. It's healthy. George says, nice. The bread run will do the trick too. Yeah, the bread run would. I'm with you there. Okay, cool. All right, you guys, you have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you maybe on TikTok when we go live at the Truck Championship. So you guys stay safe. Check in with me if you have any questions. And I'll be reaching out. Scott, I'm going to reach out to you here in just a little bit. I want to visit with you a little bit about everything that's going on. So fair warning, I will be calling. Anybody else, if you have questions on the available positions, reach out to our recruiters at 888-668-0698, or you can apply online by texting Decker to 25,000 or just going to drivedecker.com to fill out an application. All right, you guys have a wonderful rest of your week. I will see you soon.